So in this video, we will dive into, is there going to be a bubble? Because home prices have been rising significantly. And when people hear that prices are rising so significantly, and inventory is certainly driving this in today's market. As prices are so high, as they're rising so significantly, they start to wonder about the housing market, and people remember what happened when the housing market crashed. Hi, I'm Tom Olsewski with Coldwell Banker and Team Olsewski. They remember prices skyrocketing and they worry about a housing bubble. And the data today shows this is a really interesting study from Realtor.com, and it shows that worries about a housing bubble still persist. Now, this is the percent of people who say they believe there's a housing bubble where they live. And so, among consumers surveyed, 77% feel like there's a housing bubble in their market. That's 3 out of every 4 people that feel like this is a bubble that's about to burst. Now, you know, if you've been following along with us, that we've shown the data month after month after month that we're not headed for a housing bubble. But when we know that this is a concern out there, when we know that there's uncertainty in the market, that people have fears, we want to help ease those fears. So I'm going to walk you through some slides in a moment that are going to help you understand why this market situation is different from 2005 to 2007 real estate market. And if you're sitting in the camp of agents over on the other side that says 45% of agents feel like there's a housing bubble as well, that's nearly half of the agents. So you might not be getting the right information. So I'm going to share the data and information on why we're not headed for a housing bubble. It's very important. It's not opinion, it's real data. So I want to ease your fears. I think the next few slides are really going to help. So what I want to do here is really paint that picture from an inventory perspective, a supply and demand, as we're talking about that today. And this next slide shows that inventory of homes today is nothing like the last time. So this is months of supply of existing homes for sale in December of each year. Now you can see on the left side the 4 years of the housing crash, and the right side the past 4 years. So let me break this down for you. The orange bars on the left, 2000 through 2010, show that was a buyer's market. We had an oversupply of homes. So you remember that graph that I just shared with you on seller neutral buyer's market. These bars show that we were in a buyer's market when the housing market crashed. 9.6 months of inventory in 2007. 9.4 in 2008, significantly higher than where we're at today. And today you can see is the right side over the blue bars, 2018 to 21. So even in 2018, when we had 3.7 months of inventory on the market, it was significantly higher than where we are today. Kind of a record low, you'll say, and that was 3.7 months of inventory was going into the pandemic. And then look at 2020 and 2021. Simply not enough homes to go around. So when there aren't enough homes on the market, that's what drives prices up. But it is a significantly different market than what we had in the housing crash. So when people remember the housing crash, we have to remind them that inventory is in a totally different place today than in the past. So yes, prices are rising based on supply and demand, but we are nowhere near where we were the last time. Now, the interesting thing about this as well, I told you I wanted to walk walk you through the buyer demand as well. So take a look at this. We hit a record high, a 15-year record of existing home sales in 2021. So this is the number of existing home sales from 2019 to 2020 and 2021. You can see 2019 was 5.4 million sales. We broke that record in 2020 with 5.6 million. In 2021, we just crushed that with 6.1 million homes sold in this country. So what does that say? That says buyers are out there. They're looking for homes, they're purchasing homes, and they're actively in the process. So we have a high buyer demand. We have low inventory, significantly different fundamental than where the housing market was when the bubble burst. And the truth is that the people who are purchasing these homes can afford them this time. And I say that because I want to share this data here that shows, credit scores are nothing like the last time either. This is the volume of loans in billions, and that's B with a capital B with a credit score less than 620. So take a look at those orange bars, 2003 to 2007. Significantly more loans were issued to buyers who had a credit score less than 620 than we are now. Where are we now? So 2008 through 2021, you can see that those lending standards have gotten much tighter, meaning that buyers are essentially showing the credentials that they'll be able to afford their home. And that's what's leading to the loan opportunities. So very different lending standards are creating a landscape that's nothing like the last time. Credit scores are definitely tighter this time around, and if you're worried also about any other fundamentals of the market, let's think about equity for a second. Homeowners have significantly more equity today, so they're in a much better financial position as homeowners in this process. And if you're worried or worried about a foreclosure crisis coming, I encourage you to go back and look at the data from our last report video on forbearance and foreclosure update that we gave. Just recently, I looked in Riverside County, there were 16 foreclosures in the whole county. Very, very minimal. Because the data simply shows that we're not headed for a foreclosure crisis. We won't see a wave of inventory coming on the market that is going to significantly tip the scales into a buyer's market. There just aren't enough homes going into foreclosure. And we're so grateful for that because that means more and more people are staying in their homes. So the fundamentals of this market are really a lot different. And the reality is, we know that people still have concerns. We want to ease those fears. We want to make sure they understand what the data is saying when it comes to understanding the housing market and having that confidence today. Because as people see prices rising, they start to fear this is just like the last time, and it simply isn't. So for now, that's it on our current market and whether the bubble will burst. I hope this has been helpful and will allow you to make the right decision for you and your family. Thanks again, and remember, it's important who you work with.